What distinguishes a true leader during a crisis? Is it their resilience, their decision-making, or perhaps their ability to inspire? These are the questions we're going to explore today as we delve into the complex world of crisis leadership. Leading through crises is a unique challenge, one that requires a blend of innovation, determination, and steadfast courage. It's about making tough decisions, keeping a level head when the pressure is on, and above all, inspiring those around you to push through adversity. In the next few minutes, we'll be exploring some fascinating case studies of individuals who have exemplified these traits. From the frosty wilderness of Antarctica, to the tense atmosphere of World War II, and even to the heart of a nation in mourning, we'll see how true leaders rise to the occasion during times of crisis. As we dive into our case studies, consider the traits that define these leaders and how they navigated through turbulent times. Picture being stranded in the Antarctic, with only your leadership skills to rely on. That's exactly the situation Ernest Shackleton found himself in. In the early 20th century, Ernest Shackleton, a seasoned explorer, embarked on an ambitious voyage to traverse the Antarctic from sea to sea. But the expedition took a dramatic turn when their ship, the Endurance, got trapped in the pack ice. Shackleton and his crew found themselves stranded on the ice floes, 1,000 miles from civilization, with no means of communication. But the real story here is not about the crisis itself, but how Shackleton led his crew through it. Shackleton knew that survival in such extreme conditions required more than just physical endurance. It required mental and emotional resilience. So he made it his mission to keep up his crew's morale. He implemented a routine to keep everyone busy and focused. Every day, regardless of the weather, the men were required to get up, have meals at regular times, and engage in work or games. Shackleton knew that structure and routine were crucial, not just for survival, but for the crew's mental health. But Shackleton's leadership wasn't just about keeping up spirits. He was also a decisive leader. When their ship was finally crushed by the ice, Shackleton made the tough decision to abandon it. He knew that clinging on to the ship, their only semblance of shelter, was a futile endeavor. Instead, he focused on what they could do, using the lifeboats to reach the nearest land. Through all of this, Shackleton never lost sight of his ultimate goal, to keep his crew alive. His leadership was driven by an unfaltering belief in their survival. He once said, "Optimism is true moral courage." And it was this optimism that kept his crew going, even when their situation seemed hopeless. In the end, Shackleton's leadership triumphed. After more than a year stranded in the Antarctic, he managed to bring all of his crew members back alive, a testament to his perseverance, decisiveness, and morale-boosting techniques. Shackleton's leadership exemplified the power of hope and determination in the face of dire circumstances. Leading a nation during the world's darkest hour is no small feat, yet Winston Churchill managed to do so with poise and determination. Winston Churchill, Britain's Prime Minister during the Second World War, was a beacon of resilience and strategic thinking. The world was embroiled in a conflict of unprecedented scale, a crisis that was shaking the very foundations of civilization. Yet Churchill stood firm, his spirit unbroken, his resolve unyielding. Churchill's leadership style during this tumultuous period was marked by his remarkable ability to communicate. He used his powerful speeches to rally his people, to instill in them a sense of hope and determination. One could argue that his words were as potent as any weapon of war. They served as a rallying cry, a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. His speeches were not merely about lofty ideals or abstract concepts. They were grounded in reality, acknowledging the harshness of the situation, yet always infused with a sense of optimism. He was realistic, yet hopeful, acknowledging the challenges, yet always pointing towards a brighter future. But Churchill's leadership was not just about words, it was about actions. He was a strategic thinker, a man of action who made tough decisions during the war. He was not afraid to take risks, to make difficult choices when the situation demanded it. His decisions, though sometimes controversial, were always guided by his unwavering commitment to the cause of freedom and his unshakable belief in the resilience of the British people. Through his leadership, Churchill demonstrated the importance of resilience in the face of crisis. His ability to stay calm, composed, and effective during challenging times is a testament to his strength of character and his commitment to his nation. Churchill's leadership during World War II was a masterclass in crisis management. His resilience, strategic thinking, and his ability to rally his people during the crisis are traits that every leader can learn from. Churchill's leadership demonstrates the power of resilience and the importance of maintaining a fighting spirit even in the face of immense danger. In times of crisis, a leader's empathy can be their greatest asset. New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern showed the world just how powerful empathy can be. In March of 2019, the tranquility of Christchurch, New Zealand was shattered by a horrific act of violence. 50 people lost their lives in a senseless act of hatred. As the nation grappled with grief, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern stepped forward, not just as a leader, but as a beacon of empathy and unity. As the world watched, Ardern did not just offer condolences. She shared in the nation's grief, mourning with them. Her empathy was palpable, her sorrow genuine. She wore a hijab in solidarity with the Muslim community, a powerful symbol that resonated across the globe. But her response wasn't limited to symbolic gestures. Ardern's empathy was coupled with decisive action. Just 6 days after the massacre, she announced a ban on all military-style semi-automatic weapons and assault rifles, a move that was widely applauded. She understood that empathy alone was not enough. It needed to be paired with concrete actions to prevent such tragedies in the future. She also reached out to the families of the victims, offering support and ensuring they were cared for. She used her platform to unite, not divide, emphasizing that New Zealand was one community, one family. Ardern's response to the Christchurch massacre was a masterclass in empathetic leadership. It wasn't just about policies or press conferences. It was about standing with her people, sharing in their pain and striving to build a better future. She showed the world that to lead is not just to govern, but to feel, to understand, and to act. In challenging times, a leader can choose to build walls or bridges. Ardern chose the latter. Her leadership was not about division, but unity. She didn't just react to the crisis. She used it as an opportunity to bring her nation closer together, to build a stronger, more inclusive New Zealand. Ardern's leadership underscores the importance of empathy and swift action in times of crisis. So what do these leaders all have in common? What can we learn from their actions during crises? Let's distill their shared traits, their common denominators. First off, resilience. Each leader faced adversity with a determination that was unwavering. Shackleton's Antarctic expedition, Churchill's leadership during World War II, Ardern's response to the Christchurch massacre, all were steeped in the kind of resilience that turns setbacks into setups for comebacks. Then there's decisiveness. When the going got tough, these leaders didn't dither or procrastinate. They made decisions, sometimes hard ones, and they stuck to them. They understood that in a crisis, indecision can be more harmful than a wrong decision. Next, we have morale boosting. It's one thing to stay motivated yourself, but quite another to lift the spirits of those around you. Our leaders didn't just inspire, they infused their teams with a shared sense of purpose, creating a collective resilience that was greater than the sum of its parts. Of course, strategic thinking was also a key ingredient. They didn't just react to events, they proactively planned for different scenarios and were prepared to pivot as circumstances changed. They foresaw potential obstacles and had contingencies in place to overcome them. Then there's empathy. They didn't just command, they connected. They showed that they understood the fears and concerns of their people and provided not just solutions, but comfort and reassurance. They led with their heads, yes, but also with their hearts. Last, but by no means least, swift action. They understood that in a crisis, time is of the essence. They didn't wait for perfect solutions. They acted quickly, making the best use of the information and resources they had at the time. These traits aren't just for crisis situations. They're qualities that can be cultivated and applied in everyday leadership scenarios, in business, politics, community work, and even in our personal lives. In the face of crisis, it's not just about surviving, but leading others to survive and thrive with you. That's the mark of true leadership.